How can you get over bad addictions? So when I was 16 to 21, I had a very bad substance abuse problem. I went to 3 rehabs, 6 outpatient therapies, overdosed a bunch of times, and went to mental institution, was on probation. I was a problem child. No matter how many of those institutions I went to, yes, I learned more about myself, but I didn't understand how to overcome my addiction issues. And I was in rehab with a guy who told me about the law of attraction, right? And he was explaining how, your thoughts become reality. Your thoughts are magnetic. Every single thought you have has a frequency, and it brings like thoughts to you and events and people. And I never heard of that concept. I was like, that's very interesting. And I like to learn if I'm interested in the subject, at least. So I just stayed with him for the entire time we were roommates at this rehab. And this guy was a multimillionaire, and I've never been around money like that. So it was very interesting to me. I'm like, well, this guy, obviously, addiction-wise, he had issues, but he knew how to make money. You can make money, but that doesn't mean that you don't have your own issues and you're perfect. You just know how to make money. There's a certain way to make money, and that's what I've realized. So what I do now is, when I decided that I was done with my habits, with my bad habits, the thing is, you gotta replace it. With habits, bad habits, and addiction, you just switch, right? It's still there, but you change the habit into a positive habit. That concept helped me a lot. When you're focusing on one thing, the only way to get over that bad habit is to focus on another thing, a positive habit. So change negative habits to positive habits. And addiction, to me, my opinion, my definition of addiction is having a habit you're not necessarily aware of sometimes. Some people are aware of it, but having a habit that you don't have the knowledge or know-how to overcome. All it takes is one concept to overcome. What I realized with habits is, in rehab, they'll say it takes something like 60 days, maybe 90, to create pretty much a new habit. What I realized, and this is with any habits, I still have some bad habits. It's just not substances. What I realized with these habits is, if I can stop this habit and not do this habit for 3 days, I don't know what it is, but I realized for 3 days, it makes it so much easier. If you can go 3 days without doing that habit, it makes it so much easier. Can you imagine telling someone who's been addicted to substances for 6 years that if you go 60 days, it'll be easier? I can't even get 1 day. I love chocolate. I can't even get 1 day sometimes with chocolate, no, let alone 60 days. That makes me feel like crap. I'm like, heck, I can't do that. But if you can do 3 days, you'll start forming better habits compared to like eating chocolate. I love chocolate. I eat it all the time. Now, what I try to do is now I try eating healthier chocolate. That's a little better for you, but it takes 3 days. If I can not eat chocolate for 3 days, it makes things a lot easier. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go back and have a little bit of chocolate. So like, if I'm eating a lot of chocolate, instead of eating, let's say, 3 handfuls of M&Ms, you start eating 2 handfuls of M&Ms, because I know habits can be hard to break. So, instead of, if you're overeating, if you love food, instead of eating, you might not even know how much you're eating. You might be eating 3,000 calories a day. Cut 500 calories out of that. The way to really get over a bad habit, you have to have a goal for what you want. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're like, I have a habit of eating too much food, do you count your calories, right? Do you know how much you're actually eating every day? If you don't, then how are you going to stop that habit? Or how are you going to eat less food? Now, if you start counting your calories every day, you're like, okay, I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. Now, let me cut to 2,500 calories a day. And then there's all kinds of apps, right? I have an app that I use. And what I do is, all you do is you scan a barcode, and then it tells you how many calories and everything, and then, you eat that. So then when you know how much you're eating a day, then you're aware and you're killing that habit. Most habits, people don't even know they have, because everything's behavior. Everything's behavior based. We're so unconscious to things. That's how they say, like, with people who have addictions, It's knowing you have an addiction. Most people who have substance abuse addictions don't even know they have it. It's just so normal to them, and they've been doing it for so long. And the only time some of them even realize that they have a problem is when people tell them, hey, listen, this has been out of hand. You've been hurting your family. You're not here for us. You acting different. You're lashing out. And that's, a lot of people don't even realize they have these bad habits. And again, it's all behavior based. Some of us do, though. We do have, like, when I had my addiction issues, I knew I had an addiction. I just said, well, I can't stop it. I've tried, and this is just life. And that's just how it's going to happen, until I came across this knowledge of creating my own reality. I'm like, I don't know I create my own reality. And then the main thing is, I never had goals. Like, I never was like, this is where I want to go in life. And now I know how to get there. I thought life just happened to you. I was a high school dropout, didn't have an education, worked like a dog in the restaurant industry, didn't know anything about finance, money. I was a workaholic. All I knew how to do was work and use substances. That's all I knew, until I was empowered by The Secret, by the law of attraction, by knowing that I can stop whenever I want. I can get over this. I can overcome this. There are laws of the universe that'll help me do this. All I got to do is have a vision. I got to have a goal, and I got to work towards that goal. And I got to keep my intentions pure. I got to keep my thoughts high. I got to focus on that goal, right? And I got to know that I'll accomplish that goal. And that's how I got to that spot, because I was empowered. I stopped even making excuses. There's a concept, it's radical responsibility. Everything that's happening in your life is you. Everything that's happening in your life is because of what you thought, your behaviors and your actions. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but sometimes that's what you need to hear. When I was having bad spending problem, I used to make like $15,000 a year, and I was fine, right? Of course, living paycheck to paycheck, because I didn't know anything about money. And then I was making substantially a lot more than that. And then I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. Why am I living paycheck to paycheck? And then I started, listening to people on personal finance, and I didn't realize that it was all behavior based. I had a spending problem. I spent too much, but I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. And once I put myself on a budget, once I looked at where all my money's going, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. I didn't even know this. I wasn't even aware of this. This is why awareness is so important, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Once you're aware of something and you change it, that's a choice. Once you're aware of something, you can change it. But if you're aware of something and you don't change it, that's a choice. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope I hopefully made an impact in someone's life today. If you would like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Comment below awareness. I want you guys to comment below awareness. Until next time, have a nice one, guys.